Hi Skate Pals, I'm Elizabeth from Geek Girl Skates, and this is the third video in my quick start guide to roller skating. In the first video, we looked at some essential skills for roller skating, like how to stand up in your roller skates, a little bit on how to roll forwards, how to stop, and how to fall safely. In the second video, we really built on those skills by taking a closer look at how to balance in your roller skates, a little bit more on how to skate forwards, and 2 more ways to stop. But in this video, we're going to flip everything and learn how to skate backwards. And we'll look at how to transition from forwards to backwards and backwards to forwards. In this video, I'm going to introduce how to skate backwards. So if you're not ready for this, don't worry. Go back to videos 1 and 2 and work on the basics of skating forwards and coming to a stop when you're skating forwards, and just come back to this video when you're ready. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with future skate videos. On my channel, I do product reviews for roller skates and other roller skate equipment, and I provide tutorials because my aim here is to empower everyone to get on a pair of roller skates and feel confident when they're going roller skating. But let's look at how to skate backwards. So when we're skating backwards, a lot of what we've already talked about in terms of skating forwards will also apply to a backwards direction. We want to keep a nice low stance, head up, chest up, nice and relaxed and loose. But the main difference here is that we want to look in the direction we're traveling. Obviously, when we're skating forwards, we're looking forwards. But if you're skating backwards, you'll want to look over your shoulder and see where you're going. So similarly to how we started skating forwards by taking a few baby steps and letting ourselves roll, we're going to do the same thing but backwards. But in this case, I'm going to point my feet inwards like this, and I'm just going to take a few steps to go backwards. And I'm just pushing gently. I think it helps to have the weight in the heel of your feet, whereas if you're skating forwards, you're more likely to want the heel in the front of your feet. So similarly to how in the first video when I talked about if your weight distribution is more to the front, you're probably just going to roll forwards, and if your weight distribution is to the back, you're probably just going to roll backwards. But we actually want to harness that ability to just roll forwards and roll backwards here, and use that to actually assist us in rolling backwards. So toes pointed in, knees bent, nice low stance, and we're going to look over our shoulder, and we're just going to take a few steps to let ourselves roll. And you can build this up as you get more comfortable and increase your speed, but be sure you're doing this at your own pace and make sure that your surroundings allow you to build up that speed. And when we skated forwards, we also looked at doing lemons or bubbles, but we can do that going backwards as well. So again, we're going to start out with our toes pointed in, and we're going to push out with our skates and then bring them back in to form that lemon shape. So we can get a few steps to get us rolling and push out and bring it together. So I'm really making sure that I'm staying nice and low and that the weight is in the heel of my foot. Again, just like skating forwards, these are muscles that you're probably not using in normal everyday non-skater life, so don't worry if it takes you a while to get used to it or if you need to build up that muscle memory first. So if we want to turn when we're roller skating, the same thing applies as what we did when skating forwards. It's just a case of shifting your weight to the left if you want to go left, or shifting your weight to the right if you want to turn to the right. When you're skating backwards, you will want to stop at some point. And there's 2 ways that I think are really good for beginners to stop when they're skating backwards. Unfortunately, T-stops and taking a knee don't quite work when we're rolling backwards, so we will have to carefully think about how we stop. So just like how plow stops worked when we were going forwards and were really similar to lemons, the same thing actually applies to skating backwards. So if we bring our heels together when we're doing a backwards lemon and let it stop here, this brings us to a gentle stop. So if we just take a few steps backward, and then we're going to stop on this one by bringing our heels together, and we've got a nice stop. But another easy way for us to stop when we're skating backwards is to use our toe stop, or both of our toe stops. As we're traveling backwards, we're just going to lightly apply our toe stop to the ground, and this will bring us to a nice stop. If you find that you have a lot of momentum in your skating, you might find that you want to use both your toe stops. And this, going up on your toe stops like this, should be nice and comfortable. It shouldn't hurt your toes, and you shouldn't have any pain in your toes. So I'm going to skate backwards and just gently apply my toe stop. And when I'm doing this, I'm just bringing my skate back. I'm not taking it out to the side like when I was using my toe stops going forwards. I'm just going backwards in this case. And the same with if I was having both toe stops, I want to keep my feet nice and parallel. You really want to make sure that you're keeping the pressure nice and light and even, because this will mean that you're less likely to lose your balance. So hopefully by now you're beginning to get the hang of skating forwards, and you might even be getting the hang of going backwards. But it's good to be able to put these two skills together so that you're not like skating forwards, having to come to a stop, switch to go backwards, and then carrying on backwards. We want to be able to do that in a nice fluid motion. So this is transitioning or transitions. There's a couple of ways you can do that, and I'll be going over two of the more common ways. As you build this up, and as you build up your skate skills, you might want to throw in like a 180 jump to be able to do this. But for now, we're just going to look at two ways that don't involve jumping. So the first motion is one that you might want to practice off skates first. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to be going forwards. We're going to transfer our weight onto our right leg. So we want to be able to balance on that side. We're going to put our left foot down behind our right foot, and we're going to bring that right foot back around. So I describe this as like a open the book and a close the book, because you're starting out here, you're opening the book, and you're closing the book. And then we can do it the other way. So if we're going backwards to forwards, so we're opening the book and closing the book. I think it really helps to use your arm or to point when you're learning how to do transitions, because it'll help keep you from spinning out and continuing on. So I often see new skaters when they turn and then they just keep turning, and they do sort of one of these, and you want to be able to do a transition in a controlled way. So if I'm skating this way and I just want to go this way, we don't want anything fancy here. So if you practice this move without skates first, it'll help you get used to the motion. It'll help you get used to your hips opening like this, because I do see a lot of skaters really struggle with that when they're beginning. When you're learning how to do these transitions, don't forget you can go as slow as you need to here, but it does help to have a little bit of a continuous roll. I think it's learning this foot placement and making sure you're putting your foot down in the right place to allow you to keep moving. That's really important here. And I think that's where a lot of beginners get really hung up on this skill. Okay, so you can use this transition for going forwards to backwards, backwards to forwards, and on your left side and your right side. And another way you can transition your directions is to actually use your front or rear trucks to help move your leg and move your body around into the right direction. So what I mean by this is if I point with my left foot and I only have my front trucks on the ground, and I'm going to swing this leg out, so I'm opening my book, and then I'm bringing my front trucks of my right foot around and I'm closing my book. We can do the same thing with the rear trucks, so one might be more comfortable for you than another. So I'm going to roll forward with my rear trucks down, and I'm going to swing it out to the side, and then I'm going to bring my rear trucks around as well. So it's the same sort of open book, close book. Open book, close book. I think the confusing part about this is that sometimes I am sort of pivoting on the front trucks or the rear trucks as I'm moving my foot around, so it's not always a very fluid motion. So when I bring this foot around, I'm almost sort of pivoting on that foot, but not quite. If you're finding that you're having difficulty with either of these transitions, I actually think that getting as low as you can on both of them really helps to make the motion nice and fluid, and you get a lot more range of maneuverability the lower you go. Like with any skill, this one is going to take practice, and I think it's just from drilling it over and starting out nice and slow and building up your speed and your confidence as you're building this one up. Well, that's the end of part 3 of my quick start guide to roller skating. I hope this video has helped all the new roller skaters out there. If this video helps you out, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with my future skate videos. If you want to see more tutorials like this one, go ahead and let me know in the comments what kind of content you want me to cover. That's all for now, and keep roller skating.